Welcome back to my channel. My name is Joanne, and I'm coming at you with my September TBR. So I've decided to make my own TBR game using Uno. And so what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to pick 4 cards each month, and each color represents a different, I'm going to be shuffling these. We'll be representing a different genre, and then each number represents a different prompt. So I'll go through the different genres. So for red, it is contemporary romance. A green is a fantasy. Blue is mystery, thriller, horror. And yellow is like the catch-all category, so like anything else. This is so hard. I don't think I'm gonna go through the different prompts, and I'll just go through them as I pick them. And then, so the skip cards, I will be skipping that turn, and I'll be skipping that turn, and so I get to read one less book. So for example, if I just get 4 cards and I don't have to add any books, I'll get into the adding books rules in a little bit. But if I only have 4, then and I gotta skip, then I only have to read 3. For reverse, so my friend actually came up with this one for me. Is give a DNF book a second chance, and I have to finish it. No thanks. And for reverse, I can choose any genre. It doesn't have to match the color. For the wild cards, I'm gonna have a friend pick my book, draw 4. I have to add 2 books, and so for a total of 3 books for that one card. And they both have to be randomized for my entire TBR. For draw 2, I add 1 book. So in total, I'm adding 2 books. And for that, I have this tin with a bunch of prompts. So I will be picking from that. For draw 2, it has to match the color genre. And one of them I will be randomly picking from my entire TBR. And the second one I will be picking a prompt from this tin with a bunch of different prompts. And there's 1 swap hands card, which means I have to put a book on my TBR that's on someone else's TBR. So it can actually come in handy. And then I have 3 blank cards. So what I did with those is I put 2 books that I'm not interested in and 1 book that I am interested in. Okay, so let's get into picking, and then I'll go through the rest of my TBR after. So let's start. We'll also be participating in Becca's Bookoplathon, and also Mammamiathon. Bookoplathon is all month long in September. Mammamiathon is from September 1st to the 12th. I'm sorry if I'm looking down. I have all the notes written down. And then I will also be participating in hopefully Bratz Readathon, only if I get my Uno books and my Bookoplathon books done first. Then I'll probably go to the Bratz Readathon, and then like the last week or so of September, Kayla from Books and Lala is doing her last And this time around, the buzzword is night. And I have 6 books I could read for that. But that's only if I get everything else done. Like, that is the last priority. Okay. So, let's get into my Uno picks. Okay, I'm nervous. A blue 6. So that means it's a mystery, thriller, or horror in the category a Twitter poll. So for my first card pick, which was a mystery, thriller, or horror from a Twitter poll, I put up a poll on Twitter, and it was between The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware and A Cold Dark Place. The winner of that poll is The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. And I'm excited because the premise is really interesting, but I've heard meh things about it. I mean, it's not super long. It's only... trying not to spoil myself. It's only 340 pages, so that's not too bad. Next one. Another blue. A blue 1. Which is another mystery, thriller, or horror. And that is a random letter generator that starts with the title. So title starts A to Z, and I randomly pick a letter, and that is the letter that the title has to start with. And I will be inserting screen recordings of my random letter picks. The next prompt I got was a random letter, title starts A to Z. And so for that, I got the letter P. So I will be reading The Perfect Wife by Blake Pierce. Also, I don't really know much about these books, except, hold on. The Woman in Cabin 10, I think, is about this woman that's on a boat, I think. But, she, like, sees this person, like, jump off or something, and, like, no one else sees it. But, yeah. And The Perfect Wife, I'm pretty sure, is, like, a domestic thriller. So, I'm interested. The next pick is Swap Hands. Okay. I think that's the only one in the deck. That's crazy that I picked that the first time. So again, Swap Hands is that I have to pick a book from someone else's TBR. So my next pull was the Swap Hands card. You can see. And for this, I'm going to be reading A Memory Called Empire, which is perfect because it is a book for the Fantasy Reads Book Club, hosted by Amanda Lynn Reads. She's amazing, and I love everyone that's in it. And my last card is another blue 1. I promise I shuffled these cards. Why couldn't this be October? That would have been perfect. Spooky season. So that's another random letter for the title. And again, I will insert that screen recording here. So my last card that I drew was another mystery, thriller, and horror. Hopefully this does not happen again. And it was also a title starts A to Z. And this time I got F. And for this, I am so excited. I'm going to be reading Final Girls by Riley Sager. I'm very excited. So this one is about these people that are the last ones standing. Like, the only people to like survive these murders, and I guess like they start dying like one by one. Like, what? And I've heard really good things about Riley Sager, so I'm very excited. So there are all the books I'm reading for TBR Uno. Time for my rolls for Becca's Bookoplathon. So here's my little Bookoplathon board. I'm sorry if this is a little shaky, but so here's my little piece. Start on go. Here are my dice. Okay, so first roll. A 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Translated. Oof. So for Becca's Bookoplathon, my first roll was translated, and for that I will be reading The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Readathon. I think this is about this guy who finds this book called The Shadow of the Wind, and like he loves it, so he wants to read other things by this author. As he's looking for his other works, they're getting burned one by one. And so he's like trying to figure out like why they're getting burned, like what the motive is. Like, it just sounds very interesting. Roll number 2. 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. What does that say? A middle grade. My next roll for Bookoplathon was a middle grade, and for that I'll be reading Nevermore by Jessica Townsend. And I don't really know what this is about, but it's very hyped on BookTube, and I'm very excited because I haven't really read a middle grade. I really want to see if I like it or not, so I'm excited. Roll number 3. A 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. First in a series. Right there. The next prompt I got for a Bookoplathon is first in a series, and for that I'll be using The Perfect Wife by Blake Pierce. So I'll be using it for TBR Uno and for Bookoplathon. And my last, hopefully, roll is a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Water on the cover or in the title or in the book. The last prompt I got, thankfully I did not get any doubles. Who knew I had luck? Not me. But my fourth and final prompt is water on the cover or something that resembles water. And for that, I will be using The Woman in Cabin 10 because there's water and it's blue. So it works. So Mammamiathon takes place September 1st to September 12th. And for this, they were saying like you could do it any way you want. You could pick like a character and do all the prompts for them, or you can just pick like a prompt from like each character and do like it that way. So what I did is I picked a prompt from like each group, and I added another prompt because each group has 5 prompts. So I just added another prompt so I would have 5. So the first prompt is from Donna, and it's the song Money, 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 and it is to read a book you didn't buy at full price. And for that, I will be using Final Girls by Riley Sager, because I got this at a bookstore, basically, that has all their books on sale. It's like a pretty cheap bookstore, in my opinion, because we don't have many around here. The next prompt that I'll be doing is from Sophie, and it is Lay All Your Love on Me, a book you think you'll love. And I'm using A Memory Called Empire by Arcady Martine, which is again our book club pick for fantasy reads. And I'm not really into sci-fi, but like this has a mystery aspect to it, and I'm kind of very intrigued. I don't remember what the mystery aspect is, but guess I'll find out. The next one is for Dynamos, and of course I had to go with Dancing Queen. I mean, hello. So that is to read a popular or hyped book, and for that I will be again using Final Girls by Riley Sager, because I mean Riley Sager is just very hyped in general. The next is The Dads, and I used the song Gimme Gimme Gimme, and it is an anticipated read, and for that I'm also using A Memory Called Empire. And my extra prompt is also actually from The Dads, and it's Voulez-vous, read whatever you want. And for that I'll be using The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. So next for my September TBR, I will be doing the Bratz Readathon, and of course I'll be on Team Jade, because I always loved Jade. Yes. Okay, so for the first prompt, it is Cool Cat. Read a book featuring a cat, and for that I will be using Nevermore by Jessica Townsend, because there's a giant cat on the cover. The next prompt is East Asian. Read an Own Voices East Asian book, and for that I'm going to be reading Jade City by Fonda Lee. I'm so excited because my friend loves it. And East Asian Chinese inspired. Yes, my life. Next is Favorite Color. Read a book with green on the cover, and for that I will also be using Jade City by Fonda Lee. Passion for Fashion. Read a trendy book, and for that I will also be using Nevermore by Jessica Townsend. And the last prompt is Nevra and Roxy. Read the group book, which is The Henna Wars by Adiba Jagirdar. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. And again, I'm only going to be doing the Bratz Readathon if I can finish my TBR Uno and my Bookoplathon books. So for Buzzwordathon, with the word night, I have 6 options. Again, this is if I get everything else done first. So my first option is actually a recent purchase. They're both recent purchases, but this is Mine Till Midnight by Lisa Kleypas. I've been wanting to get into historical romance, and Lisa Kleypas is pretty popular, so I picked this one up. It's the first in a series. 2 hearts are steeped in scandal. Ooh. But yeah, and look how beautiful this is. With the navy and the gold. Ugh, I live for this. So my other physical option is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. So actually, a funny story about this book. First of all, it's a chunker. Like, hello. Okay, that's cool. So I finished my summer class, and I told my dad, I'm like, since I finished it and I passed it and did well, you should buy me a book. So and I let him choose. My mistake. But so he went through my Amazon wish list, and the reason he picked this is because it had the most reviews with like a high rating. So I'm like, you picked the saddest book that's on my wish list, because everyone that's read this has cried, and I'm such an emotional reader that I know I'm gonna cry, so that's cool. But so the other options I have are all on my Kindle, and the first one is The Bear and the Nightingale, which is also very popular, and I'm very interested. Next is The Night Country, which is the sequel to The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert. I love The Hazelwood. So many people hated it, but I loved it. It was so fun. The next one is Sweet Sinful Nights. Who's this by? I don't remember who this is by, but it's the first in a series. It's a romance. And there's Night After Night, which is actually a part of this free 10 book set that I got. And it's also romance. So also, I forgot to mention in the beginning that if I don't read all the books for TBR Uno, I have to roll those books over into next month on top of my 4 picks. So that doesn't happen. We can hope. But after that, if I don't read the book the next month, I'm gonna have to give myself an even harsher punishment. And I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. So if you have any suggestions for that, leave them down in the comments too. There's my September TBR. I'm so excited for it. Let me know what you're planning on reading down below in the comments, what you're most excited for, if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them. Also, if you have any video suggestions, since I'm just starting out, please leave them down below in the comments, or I'll leave my Twitter linked down below too, so you can DM me if you have any suggestions, or if you have any other way that you can contact me. That works too. I would love to know what you guys want to see. I will catch you in the next one. Bye!